Hi there, thank you for joining me in this yoga practice for Cancer season. We're going to start off today reclined flat on our back, so let's go ahead and get there. Take a moment here, bend the knees so that your feet are flat to the ground. And then take a moment here and just get your spine aligned and flat to earth as well. And take your right hand and go ahead and place it on your low abdomen. Take your left hand and go ahead and place it at your heart. And then let your arms relax, elbows can touch the earth. Tuck the chin, gently lengthening through the back of the neck. And take a moment here to really bring awareness to breath. Take a gentle restriction here in the back of the throat. You can do this by pressing the back of your head and the back of your neck into your mat. Breathing in and out through the nostrils if you're able to. And really start to bring awareness to the sound of your breath and then to the movement of your breath. And I want you to send breath into your abdomen here, feeling your right hand rise. And then send breath into the chest space here. Feel your left hand rise. And then exhale, drop. As you exhale, let the belly drop, and then go ahead and let the chest drop. I want you to do this on your own here, just tapping into the rhythm and the flow of your breath. Today we will be moving with fluid motion, honoring the water energy that is Cancer. This sign can be deeply emotional. It feels very deeply, often outwardly showing emotion. Today I'd like us to assess those feelings that come up for us now. And throughout the entire practice, just assessing how you feel without bringing judgment to it. There is healing energy to be found today in this practice. And I want you to think about your inner landscape. So that emotional landscape, think about it as a body of water. And I want you to visualize how you're doing now. Is that emotional landscape feeling choppy? Is it smooth and placid? Is it a river rushing? Or maybe a stagnant puddle? Just take a moment again, notice how you're feeling without judgment. Continue tapping into that breath, and I want you to visualize a wave-like motion moving through the body. So wherever your emotional landscape is right now, we're going to go ahead and bring our physical landscape to a strong fluid current here. Inhaling, lifting the belly and then the chest. And slow and steady with control, exhale and let it drop. Assessing your inner landscape and your outer landscape today. Now we're going to bring some gentle movement into this breath work. As we inhale, I want you to arch your back a little so that you're creating a space here right under your spine in the mid-back. And you feel your abdomen, your belly space lifting up gently towards the ceiling. As you do this, you're going to get onto your tailbone here. So this is a pelvic tilt forward. And then we're going to exhale, pelvic tilt to the rear. So we press the low back, driving the navel down, and feel a teeny tiny lifting here in the tailbone. We're not scooping the hips off of the mat. We're still keeping them down, but we're just rocking for full movement in the pelvis. Go ahead and do a few rounds of this. Really getting the feet involved here as well. As you lift your belly and arch the back, you can kind of energetically, not actual movement, but just energetically pulling those heels towards your glutes. And then exhaling to press the spine, draw the navel down, maybe energetically pushing the feet away from your glutes. And go ahead and do this a few more times. And I want you to bring a little more subtle body engagement into this today. So we're arching the back here. And then as we come down, pushing the spine in, I want you to feel your abdominal wall turning on as if you were trying to pull those ribs towards your hips. Your hips are maybe almost like they're coming towards your ribs here. And then here, take a moment and just see if you can turn on those deep pelvic muscles here. So bringing a little squeeze to the pelvic floor, pushing it up, and then exhaling, letting it go. If you're not familiar with turning on your pelvic floor, it's the same motion, the same activation you get through a Kegel exercise. We're not squeezing the butt cheeks together, though you may have to do this initially to feel that pelvic floor turning on. But eventually you'll get to a point where you can engage that pelvic floor, that root space here between the legs without clenching too much through the glutes. It'll take a little practice. You'll know it when you feel it. And then we're going to release the pelvic floor as we come to this arched back shape again. Okay, we're going to continue in this manner, giving the core a little engagement, the pelvic floor a little engagement. Good. All right, we're going to keep adding on to this movement. This time as you inhale to arch the back, you're going to draw your arms up as if they were a wave, coming all the way up overhead. Inhale, stretch the arms out, let them rest on the ground above your head. Careful that we're not arching through crunching through the back of the neck. We want to keep the neck long and the head flat to the earth. Good. Exhale. This time you're going to push your arms the other way as if they're that big wave is now washing away from the shore, turning on the pelvic floor, turning on the abdomen, maybe pushing those palms into the ground, a little engagement through the feet. This is some subtle full body engagement here. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up overhead, arch the back. Good. Exhale, take it again. Move like this in your own rhythm, in your own breath, though I do encourage you to try to keep it slow and steady. We're going to do this one more time, sweeping the arms all the way up overhead. Inhale. Good. Exhale, push the spine and the navel towards the earth. Push your hands into the mat. Feel your core engage as those ribs want to energetically draw towards the hips, though we're not lifting. Push your palms into the floor to maybe give a little extra help here, and then pull those knees into chest a little, but we're going to send them all the way up into a waterfall here. In your waterfall, maybe you need to wiggle the hips here to get a nice flat back, a nice flat spine to the earth. Go ahead, take a moment. Try to, first Bend the knees as much as you need to, and push the feet flat as if they were walking on the ceiling. Then maybe you can try to straighten the legs out a little bit. And then I want you to come back to turning that core on. So without lifting the hips, right? I'm trying not to lift the hips much here. They may lift a teeny tiny bit, but really I want to try to draw those ribs toward the hips here. So I'm engaging the abdominal wall here and not lifting the hips here. So there's a subtle difference again. And then we're going to inhale, sweep the arms all the way up overhead. Take a nice big stretch. You're like a little L shape here, resting on the ground. And then exhale, bring those hands to the back of the head. We're going to take a little core engagement, a little core activation here. Legs nice and high to the sky. You may take you might want to point to the toes here if it's getting a little difficult for you to hold those feet flat. You can point the toes to the ceiling. All right, we're engaging the abdominal wall as if we were pulling those ribs towards the hips. And as we do this, we're going to lift the shoulders, keeping the arms wide. So we're not here crunching up into a teeny little ball, right? We're here, we're just lifting the shoulders, and you might already start shaking here through the abdominal wall, through the core. That's okay. Embrace the shake. See if you can lift a little higher, and I want you to have a little space from chin to chest, so we're not crunching too much through the back of the neck, but we're also not creating too much space either. All right, we're holding this here. Breathe. And then exhale, drop it down. Good. Take a moment and just go ahead and send those legs wide into a V shape, keeping them tall and long. And then squeeze it in. Good. Take a few more of these, opening up into a nice wide V. And then squeeze it in. We're going to move through a few rounds of little waterfall kind of crunches here. So we're going to lift the shoulders off the ground, really turning on that abdominal wall, almost as if I was trying to push the top of my head to the ceiling. And then inhale, drop it down. We want to exhale on the lift. Inhale, drop it down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, drop it down. Good. Go ahead and send those legs wide into a V once again. And then squeeze them in. Your legs might be getting tired here. If you need to, you can just bend the knees for a moment, maybe do a little wiggle side to side. Send those legs up when you're ready. And then we're going to engage the core, lift the shoulders, neck, and head just like before. This time, I'm going to lift my right shoulder a little higher, let the left shoulder drop down. I'm not crunching here, going for a full big movement, but it's as if I was trying to push my shoulder to my right shoulder to my left knee, really turning on those obliques here in the abdominal wall, and then bring it on down. All right, we're going to do it to the other side. Lift first, and then rotate a little bit. Left shoulder tries to come towards right knee, and then bring it on down. All right, that's your flow here. Exhale, lift, and do a little twist. Bring it on down. And again, lift, and twist. And inhale, down. Good. One more round on each side. Inhale, lift, little twist, and bring it down. Sorry, that's an exhale, lift, and then twist, and then bring it on down. Okay, good. Take a moment here. We're going to send those legs nice and long. Take a full body stretch. A little arch in the back here. Reaching those arms and legs out into opposite directions. And then relax it onto the mat. Good. Now from here, we're going to find our way up into a seat. If you're feeling a little energetic, I invite you to pull those knees into chest and maybe do a little rock and roll through the spine until you're able to rock up to a seated position. All right, that's one option for a little higher energy today. If you're wanting to move a little more slow and intentionally roll onto your side, get your one of your hands onto the earth, quick little fetal position here, and then we'll push up into a seated posture. However you choose to get there today, take your time, and then we'll come into whatever is a comfortable seated position for you. Take a moment here, draw your tailbone down, draw the legs down nice and heavy, and inhale, lengthen the spine, stacking head, heart, and hips into one column. And then exhale here, squeeze the shoulders back and down. Good. We're going to bring a little circular movement to the neck, the head and neck. And I want you to imagine with your nose, the tip of your nose, that you're drawing a little circle in the air in front of you, a teeny little circle. And I want you to turn this teeny circle into a spiral, getting a little bit bigger each time you go around. We're going slow and steady, and I want you to explore the movement throughout the neck, keeping the shoulders relaxed and down, keeping your abdomen lifted, your core engaged. Good. I want you to keep widening that circle until you come into the widest circle that you can make without losing the engagement and attention through the neck. So if you feel like your head is kind of flopping to the side or really crunching in the back as you come in these around in these circles, bring a little bit more control to that movement. All right, take your time. When you get to that wide circle, go ahead and take it around 1 or 2 times. And then we're gonna bring a moment, so come to a moment of stillness with the chin to chest here right in the middle. Take a deep breath. Exhale, relax, shoulders back and down. And then we're going to reverse that circle. We're starting wide, big circle. Slow and steady with control. Take maybe 1 or 2 big circles all the way around. And then as you start continuing that circle, you're going to make it a little smaller. And a little smaller. And eventually, your circle becomes so small, so tight, that you find yourself back in stillness. Good. Inhale, sweep the arms high to the sky, lengthen the spine, drop the shoulders down. Take a moment here, growing tall and long through the spine. And then we're going to exhale, take a little side bend, drop the left arm, right arm first reaches high to the sky. So before we bend, I want you to see how long you can make your right side here as you lift up from the hip, through the ribs, into the arm, reaching high, and then go ahead and take a side bend. Use your left hand to support you. Go ahead and bending into that elbow as much as you need to. And we're not going to go crazy deep here right away. I want you to find a little side bend, and then I want you to take your right arm and I want you to wave it slow and steady back and forth. So we're kind of coming in and out of this bend, letting our left elbow bend and straighten. And I want you to imagine that you are a seaweed rooted into the ocean floor, and you're just swaying with the water, letting it move you. And then we're going to exhale, take a little bit of a deeper side bend here, and we're going to pause. Inhale, look high to the sky, sweep your, turn your palm to face the sky. And then slow and steady with control, we're just going to return to center. Good. Inhale, sweep the arms high to the sky. Take a moment here. You can bring your right arm down and then see how long you can reach through that left arm, extending through the hip and the ribs and into the shoulder and arm. Reach, reach, reach high. And then we're going to sway a little bit here, bending to the right. And just letting the arm go back and forth, traveling with the wave of your own breathing. Try to keep that restriction in the back of the neck and a breathing here through the nostrils through the entire practice, if you're able. If you're not, just go ahead and pay attention to the sound of your breath either way. And then we'll exhale here, a little deeper side bend. Find your depth today. Make sure that left hip is really down and the leg is not creeping up. Pause here. Grow a little taller maybe. And then turn to face the sky. Turn your left palm to the ceiling. Take a nice deep breath, expanding through the left side body. Exhale, come on back to center. Good. Sweep those arms high to the sky. Take a moment here, drag the hands slow and steady down in front of you as if you were moving them through a thick liquid until the hands rest right in front of your legs. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, I want you to creep your fingers forward and we'll come into a really gentle forward fold. See if you can get those palms flat to the floor. Remember that we never want to lock out our joints, even in a position like this. So go ahead and relax the elbows. Hands shoulder width here. And then maybe you're able to walk it a little further. Relax the chin to chest and bring a gentle curling to the tailbone to support your fold, but with a tiny core engagement here as well. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, see if you can fold a little deeper. You may be able to get down to elbows on the ground. Maybe. If not, that's okay. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale. Go ahead and see if you can come a little deeper. Take a moment and breathe. Make sure you're comfortable enough where you are, not in pain, not holding your breath. And then inhale, use the hands slow and steady. Walk yourself upright. Make sure you also use the core here to pull yourself back into a strong seat. And then we're going to send those legs out into a wide leg position here. Inhale, sweep the arms high. Let's go ahead and bend the right knee and so we can come into a little one-legged position. So inhale, sweep the arms high. Exhale, turn to face your extended leg. Point the toes to the ceiling. And then once again, inhale, lift. Exhale, we're going to take a one-leg forward fold. We're going to let those arms float down. And then slow and steady, go ahead and melt it down. So we're just warming up for our practice today. Right now, don't feel, actually you should hopefully never feel like you have to really force yourself into these positions, but especially in these folds early on, just be gentle and mindful with the body and know your own limits here today. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, see if you can melt your forehead closer to the knee. Good. Inhale, with one smooth sweeping motion, lift your right arm all the way up overhead, arcing it high, and then we're going to bring that right arm back to rest, sort of behind the tailbone, and out to the side. So this is going to prop us up as we inhale, lift the left arm. I'm going to pop up on my right knee and push my hips up and forward. We're coming into a little wild thing here, so I encourage you to first reach that left arm high to the sky. Find a little forward pushing of the hips. And then you're gonna exhale, see if you can maybe make a tiny back bend, roll that shoulder back, reach behind you. Inhale, lift, make sure not locking the right elbow. Exhale, float it down, slow and steady with control. And then we're gonna switch those sides. Inhale, sweep the arms high to the sky, turn to face your extended leg. Take another deep breath, inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, float the arms down. Go ahead and find your forward fold. Make sure those right toes point to the ceiling for a little engagement. Inhale, lengthen the spine, curl the tailbone. Exhale, fold it down. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale to lengthen, and then once more fold to see how low you can get. And no worries if you're a little different on this side than the other. On your next inhale, we're gonna slow, steady, with muscle control, sweep that left arm like a big arcing rainbow all the way up overhead. See how high you can reach. And then float it on down behind you here. And then inhale, lift that right arm, push the hips forward, straighten that right leg, come up on that left knee. First, reach high to the sky, strong through the hips and core. Exhale, maybe roll that shoulder back, tiny back bend. See if you can reach behind you. Never locking our joints here, stay strong. Take a deep breath. And then exhale, we're gonna come on down to the earth. Good, go ahead and bend both knees, feet together right in front of you. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold it forward. You can grab on to the feet or the ankles here. And just relax the chest, shoulders. Relax the shoulders and bring chin to chest. Take a deep breath here, lengthen the spine. Exhale, maybe you go a little further forward. Good, maybe you roll the neck a little tiny bit side to side. Good, inhale, rise up slow and steady. Reach those arms out long and high above you. And then we're going to crisscross those legs again so we can just come into a tabletop. So we're going to send the arms forward all the way onto the ground. Find your tabletop position here. Hands are firmly placed under the shoulders, the knees are under our hips, toes curled or not, either way. We're going to do a little spinal flexion here. I want you to look over your left shoulder here and imagine sort of a little C curve happening in the spine. Good, and then we're going to look over the right shoulder, taking the other side. And we're going to go back and forth, finding almost like a serpentine movement. So if you've ever seen a snake move across the surface of the water, I want you to bring that visual here as you slow and steady bring some spinal movement here. Fluid spinal movement. Good. Go ahead and come back to stillness when you're ready. Get the tops of the feet firmly pressed down. We want to keep the knees about hip width apart here. And we're going to inhale, engage the core, let the hips sink back, and rise up into a kneeling mountain pose. Inhale, sweep the arms high to the sky. With this next move, you do need to have some core engagement. If you're feeling any fussiness in the low back, I'll give you a variation here. So your first option, inhale, lift the arms high, turn on your core, and you're just gonna bow it down, sending it into a child's pose. So if that was a little fussy on your low back, you're having a little trouble with the strong core engagement for this movement, you can first sink onto the heels. then you can just slide your hands forward. This is going to be a little more gentle if you're maybe not feeling that deeper, strong fold today. All right, inhale. You're going to drag your arms towards you as you rise back up into a mountain pose. Inhale, lift the arms. Expand through the front of your abdomen here, almost like you're pushing your hips forward, kind of dropping that tailbone to the earth, just like your mountain pose. And then exhale again, we're going to bow it down, child's pose. We're going to move through this a few more times so that you have the rhythm to it. I want you to imagine, again, that ocean wave as it rolls up. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger as it comes closer towards the shore. Inhale, lift. And then exhale, let that wave crash down onto the shore, coming to rest. Inhale, sweep it up, kneeling mountain pose. Expand, and then exhale, fold it on down. Good, one more time. Sweep the arms back. Inhale, gather energy. Exhale, fold it down. Find your child's pose. From here, we're going to rise up into a tabletop, strong and steady. Curl the toes under, find your down dog. Take a moment here, check your footing, your posture, bend the knees, lift the heels. Strong hands, strong arms, melt the heart, lift the hips, drop the head. Pedal out the feet here, dropping one heel, lifting the other. And then we're going to slow and steady take a crisscross walk to the top of the mat, getting a nice stretch along the back of the legs here as we travel to the front. Good. Take a moment here and I want you to halfway lift and then fold it down nice and deep. Breathe here and I want you to really drape from the hips here, so it's like you were being folded in half. And then we're going to drop the hips down so we can root to rise. Slow and steady, unfurl the spine, come all the way up here. Mountain pose, lift the arms high. Take a nice deep breath here, expanding through the front body. Curl the tailbone down, push the tailbone, so we're not curling it under, but we're just pushing the tailbone towards the earth. Feel a gentle lifting in the hips. Knit those ribs down towards the hips. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, we're going to bring the hands to shoulder height. I'll turn so you can see. Bring the hands to shoulder height. And then go ahead and touch your shoulders. So right hand to right shoulder, left hand to left shoulder. Inhale, open the arms. And then take a breath here. Inhale. We're going to sweep the arms down. See how I'm bending into the knees? So we're kind of rooting to rise almost, but we're actually lifting up into a chair pose. Take a moment here in your chair pose. A lot of folks will cue feet all the way together. So you can try that if you like your feet here together, knees squeezed together, go for it. I find a more supportive posture with my feet about hip width apart, maybe a teeny bit closer together. And then if you're here with me with a wider stance, make sure those knees are right over the ankles so we're not knocking them in and we're not bowing them out. We want to have these nice straight lines here best we can. Inhale, sweep the arms high. We're engaging the core. We're pushing the tailbone down. I know we've been here for a minute. Go ahead and fold. We're going to flow like that a couple times. So I want you to drop the hips, scoop it on up, root to rise, nice and high, mountain pose. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, bring the arms to shoulder height. Inhale, sweep the arms to touch shoulders. Exhale, we're gonna open the arms, drop our weight down as if we were rooting to rise, but coming into that chair pose once again. Check your posture here. We're trying to lift through the front body. We're trying not to let the knees come forward of the feet. So if you're here, check it. You want to be here. And then exhale, fold it down. Good. Take a moment here. Let it hang. And then root to rise. Inhale, strong glutes here. Sweep it on up, mountain pose. Exhale, arms come to shoulder height. Inhale, touch the shoulders. Exhale, drop it all down and then sweep it up. Inhale, chair pose. Take a moment, see if you can go a little deeper. See if you can lift the arms a little higher. Breathe. And then fold it down. Good. Take a moment, see if you can go into a little bit of a deeper fold. We're going to wrap the hands, the arms around the back of the legs here, pulling ourselves a little further down, maybe lifting those hips a little further. Take a nice deep breath here and then exhale, fold, and let it hang. Go ahead and get those hands planted firmly. So today, and you always have options, but today especially, if you're wanting to make this a little bit more of a recovery, emotional kind of recovery, go ahead and maybe take a rest here. If you're feeling a little emotionally low and you want a little extra surge of energy today, then maybe we go ahead and take that full vinyasa. So take it or leave it here. Step on back to a plank posture. Stay strong. Maybe you're on the knees, maybe you're up on the arms, maybe you're on the toes, and then we're going to lower it down. Here, we're going to keep our hand position, come up into a little cobra, strong core, squeeze those legs together. Inhale, look forward. Good. Exhale, go ahead and bring it on down. Push yourself back up to plank. If you're down in your child pose, join us here. Push it up to down dog. And again, we'll take a little slow walk to the top of the mat, crisscrossing those feet. Eventually, you'll have to tent up on these fingers, and they'll come into our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, and then exhale, fold it down. Bend the knees, root to rise. Come all the way up to mountain pose. Inhale, sweep the arms high. Exhale, chair pose. Hold it here. You know this pose. We've been here. And then inhale, take a breath, and then exhale, fold it down. We're going to get those hands right underneath of our feet, and we're going to go into a little gorilla pose. So we're standing on the hands, and just like we do in our normal forward fold, we're going to try to come into a flat back, but our arms are pinned, so we're going to lengthen through the arms, stretching the shoulders a little bit here. Take a nice deep breath, and then exhale down. Inhale, flat back in your gorilla pose. And then exhale down. One more time, just like that. Inhale, lift. And then exhale, drop it down. Bend the knees, root to rise. Come on up to your mountain pose. Good. Take a moment here. Lengthen the front body. And then we're just going to shift our weight, lift the left leg, and step it straight back into a high lunge. In your high lunge, you're on train tracks, right? So those feet are wide. Lift your left heel and see if you can really straighten that rear leg. Inhale, sweep the arms high to the sky. We're going to take a really subtle transition. So we're in lunge here, and then we're shifting to warrior one. So the arms stay high, the shoulders stay forward. The hips stay mostly forward, but we're just turning on this rear foot. So we can actually plant that foot firmly. And you'll notice your left hip just slightly opens up to the side. Good. Inhale, sweep the arms high. Exhale, hands to the back of the head. Inhale, lift the chest, baby back bend. Exhale, we're going to bow here. We're staying strong on that right knee, so we're really firm here. And then we're exhaling. We're just seeing how close we can get the forehead to the knee. Straight through the back leg, strong and straight. Inhale, push through the right foot, rise up, stay bent in that knee though. And then we're going to exhale, bring it on down. Imagine that wave lifting and rising here as we inhale. And then exhale, let that wave crash and come down with control. Good, one more time, sweep it on up, inhale, lift. Good, we're going to go ahead and relax the arms, sweep them all the way down so they can come back up in front. And then exhale, we're going to bring it on down. So again, if you're wanting a little more energy, some cleansing heat, maybe today you go ahead and take a vinyasa. If you're wanting more rest and recovery here, go ahead and child's pose. And you can keep this vinyasa also pretty tame today. If you want to just go slow, moving into a low cobra, pushing up into a knee plank. Choose your own adventure here, and then we'll meet into a down dog. Wherever you are, join me here. Take a nice deep breath. Melt in a little deeper. And then go ahead and crisscross walk, or maybe find your own way to the top of the mat. I love this crisscross sort of fluid movement here today. And then we'll halfway lift. Inhale, exhale, release. Bend the knees, root to rise, come all the way up, mountain pose, reach high, lengthen through the front body. Good, exhale here, we're gonna step it back, right leg comes back this time, high lunge on the other side. We're keeping that rear heel lifted straight through that right leg. Inhale, sweep the arms high. Take a moment here, stretching long through this right leg, bending into this left, and then we'll open it up for that warrior two. It's a very subtle switching here. Warrior one, warrior one. And then bring those hands to the back of the head here, move with your breath. Inhale, lengthen your front body. Exhale, bow it down. Two more just like that. Inhale, sweep it up. And exhale, bow. Go ahead and take a third bow here, deep and strong. And then inhale, let that wave rise on up, sweep those arms high. Exhale them back down. Inhale, lift. And again, exhale, bring it on down. Go ahead and take a vinyasa or skip it today, wherever you're at. Go ahead and meet me in a down dog for just a breath or two. And then find your way to the top of the mat. When you get there, inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Bend the knees, root to rise, come all the way up. Take a moment here, mountain pose, strong arms. Lengthen through the front body. Maybe it feels like you're taking a tiny back bend here. And then exhale, chair pose. Take a breath, lift the arms and chest. And then exhale, fold it down. Take a moment here, getting into that little gorilla pose again. Inhale, halfway lift, stretch through the arms. And exhale, fold it down. We're going to stay here for just a moment. And then we're gonna lift that left leg and step right back. We're gonna come into a high lunge. Inhale, rise up. Find your high lunge. And then open it up to a warrior one. Very subtle transition here. Exhale, hands to the back of the head. Take a breath, look up, baby back bend, and bow it down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bow. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bow. All right, inhale, lift. This time, as you inhale, we're going to bring those arms all the way down, and we're going to switch back to our lunge. So now the toes point forward, and I lift that heel. Here, we're going to keep the arms high, come into a steeple grip, so we have the two pointer fingers pointing up to the sky, like we're kind of James Bonding it here a little bit. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, we're going to push off on that rear foot so we can come into a one leg standing. And then we're going to see if we can, from here, come into a warrior three. So we can keep the arms steeple gripped, we can bring them out into like big wings, and then we're going to kick that left leg straight. Now, if you're wanting a little more gentle practice, or you want to just work up to this warrior three, stay in your lunge, come into steeple grip, and just shift your torso forward into this line. Maybe from here you can practice coming into that warrior three, or maybe you just stay there. So if you're in your warrior three, arms go wide, point those toes to the ground here. Imagine one line from the leg through the torso. And then we're going to exhale, let it fold strong and careful as we come back into a fold. Find your gorilla posture, hands under the feet. Take a moment here, hang it down. Halfway lift, stretch through the arms. Take a moment here, stay here, breathe. And then we're going to exhale, fold it down, relax the arms. Go ahead and come out of your gorilla, and then lift your right leg, step it back to your high lunge. Inhale, sweep it on up. Take a moment here, feel that high lunge. Your right leg is stretched out nice and long. Strong through that front leg, and we're really knitting those ribs down toward the hips while we find lift in the abdomen. So it sounds counterintuitive, but see if you can feel those subtle engagements, and then step it open into that subtle shift of warrior one. Both feet firmly down, right foot at an angle. Exhale, hands to the back of the head. Inhale, arch your back, look forward. And then exhale, bow. Inhale, rise up. And bow it down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bow. This time, inhale, sweep the arms high to the sky. Steeple grip above you, and same as before. Either you're in your high lunge, shift back to your high lunge first. Steeple grip, and then either you stay in your high lunge and you just lean forward to kind of experiment with this strong right leg, or you go ahead and launch yourself off into a warrior three. In your warrior three, you want to balance and level those hips. Point the toes to the ground, breathe. Imagine now you're flying, soaring over your own emotional landscape. Notice what it looks like here. And then exhale, woo, slow and steady with control, fold it down. Halfway lift when you get there. And then plant your hands, take a vinyasa, or skip it here for a child's pose rest. And then let's meet in a down dog. Take a moment here, breathe. And then travel to the top of the mat. Find your way there. When you get there, halfway lift, fold it down. Inhale, root to rise, bend the knees, come all the way up, mountain pose. All right, here, take a nice deep breath, lengthen through the front body, and then exhale, find your chair pose. Good. Breathe. Check your posture. See if you can sink a little deeper, arms a little higher. And then exhale, fold it down. Take a moment here in your fold, maybe grab onto the back of the legs or the ankles. See if you can pull yourself into a little bit of a deeper fold. Please, no pain here. Take it easy on your body. And then halfway lift and release. All right, we're gonna come into a high lunge, step it back on the left leg. Inhale, rise up. Take a moment here, breathe. Inhale, lift the chest, straighten the left leg a little more. And then we're gonna launch off on that rear foot, we're gonna lower down first. We're gonna lower ourselves down, right arm to the earth, right in front of the right toes and a little bit out to the side. And then we're gonna launch ourselves off on that left foot. So we're standing firmly on the right, bend the knee a little, and then kick your left foot out to the left side. So we're stacking the hips instead of keeping them level. Right fingers touch the earth for a little stability, and then we open up for a little half moon pose. So we're trying to get a nice long line through the arms here. We're trying not to put too much weight into that right hand. It's just kickstanding us here. Take a nice deep breath, engage the core, feel the shake. Good, and then we're gonna exhale, fold it on down, slow and steady as you come out of this. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, take your deep fold here. And then we're gonna lift that right leg, step it back into a high lunge. Inhale, sweep it on up, arms go high. Take a moment here, breathe. Inhale once again, lift the chest, lengthen the right leg. Exhale, fold it forward so we can get that left hand on the ground just in front of and to the left of our foot. Launch yourself off, stack the hips, point the toes to the right side, and then inhale, sweep the right arm high, strong core, strong leg. Left hand is just kickstanding, not bearing a lot of weight. Breathe, lift, lengthen. And then exhale, fold it on down. All right, nice last chance for a vinyasa. Go ahead and take it or leave it today. We're gonna meet in a down dog. Just a moment here. Take a breath, take this nice inversion. And just notice how you feel. And then everyone, go ahead and come on down to the knees. Come into a little child's pose. You can either keep the arms reached out long in front of you or maybe sweep them back. And then wherever you are, we're either dragging the arms forward or we're going to drag them back towards the shoulders and then just push ourselves up into a little tabletop pose here. Good. Go ahead and slide your right knee forward so it's right up against your wrist if you can, and then see if you can get your left ankle towards your left wrist and then slide that left leg back, sinking nice and easy into a little half pigeon. Take a look at your rear leg, make sure it's mostly in line with your body, not tilting out to one side. We want to stay also lifted onto the hips here a little bit, not rolling onto the glutes, if that makes sense. All right, from here, a lot of you folks may be not quite towards a mermaid pose yet, but we're going to practice. So if you're pretty new to this pose, or you know you have really tight quads and hips, take it easy on yourself. Use props. So if you need to grab a book or a block, go ahead and do so. So what we're doing here is we're bending this left knee. So see if you can bend that knee any amount. And if you can, go ahead and bend it to a 90 degree. Otherwise, just prop it up onto your coffee table, onto a block, a book, whatever. Get yourself supported. If you're able to, don't force it. If you're able to, lift that left arm all the way up overhead. Go ahead and reach on back. See if you can grab onto the inner edge of that foot. Hi, buddy. If you have the inner edge of that foot, go ahead and rotate your forward to pull it forward. Hi, Indigo. So we have our shoulders square to the front of the mat. Hips are square to the front of the mat. Really lovely deep stretch into the hip flexor and the quad here. Point the toes high. If this mermaid pose is not working for you in any variation at all, I encourage you to just stay in your high half pigeon. So we're up on the arms. This is helping to lengthen the quad and the hip flexor here a little bit. When you've had a chance to explore your version of mermaid pose, we're going to shift onto that right hip so that we can swing this left leg forward. Coming back into a little one leg forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms high. Exhale, turn to face that extended leg. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold it down. Notice if you're able to compare how this stretch feels versus at the beginning of practice. Maybe it's a little easier. Maybe it feels the same. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, knee, forehead to knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, go ahead and walk it on upright here. Return to your seated position. And then see if you can in one smooth movement. If you can't, that's fine, but maybe play around and see what you can do. In one smooth movement, I'm going to roll back on my hips. I'm going to stretch out my legs, and I'm going to switch to that pigeon posture. So I'm getting my right leg sticking out behind me. And now my left leg is in that 90-degree bend here at the front of my mat. Maybe that shin is parallel to the top of your mat, maybe not. No worries wherever you are. Take a look at your right leg. Make sure it's in line with the body. Inhale, find length through the spine. And remember, we never want to lock out the joints, even here in this kind of resting position. Be careful of the joints. And then we're going to switch sides on that mermaid. So if you're able to bend that knee any amount, go ahead and do so. Maybe you rest it. Maybe you come all the way into this 90-degree bend. When you feel comfortable with a deep bend here, you can reach that right arm all the way up and over, gripping the inner edge of that foot, and then pulling your shoulder to be square to the front of your mat. Hips are relatively square. Take a few deep breaths here, lengthening the spine. You may need to really engage through the core, especially if you get any fussiness or pain in the low back. So just pay attention to where you need support. And then after you've had a little time to experiment with your mermaid pose, or maybe just in your pigeon, we're going to release that leg slow and steady with control. And then we're going to tilt onto that hip so we can return to our one-legged forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms high. Exhale, turn to face the extended leg. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold it down. Notice how this side feels. Take a deep breath, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold it down. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, we're gonna come all the way back up. All right, we're gonna experiment with a deep folding posture here to kind of cool down, bring our awareness back into that inner landscape. If you have trouble in your low back, then you may want to just take a little butterfly fold like we did before, so feet together, knees wide. Otherwise, you will come into that same position, but we're gonna go into tortoise pose. So I wanna offer you lots of options. Find one that works for your body, or find one that feels like what you need today. One option is to take these forearms first, and we're just gonna slide them under the shins here, under the calves. And then we're gonna keep sliding them forward so we can try to get those elbows on the ground. All right, so this is one version of your turtle pose. You can maybe try to bring the forehead towards the feet. Maybe you can slide those arms a little more through the legs. This is about where I get to. Maybe you push those arms into the back of the knees for a little bit of a wider posture in the shoulders. And again, if you're feeling a little much in the back, you can try engaging your core, or maybe you just skip this pose today. Now, another version of your turtle pose is to basically do the opposite with your arms. Instead of threading them forward and under, we're gonna thread them behind and under. So, sounds like maybe crazy, but you can do it. So you're gonna take the arm and you're going to now thread it down behind under your thigh. So my hand, the top of my hand is on the mat, and I'm gonna go ahead and get the other side. So now I'm in basically the opposite version of that fold. This is, for me, honestly feels a little better, but is definitely a little much on the hips. It's a pretty big stretch in the hips. So take what you need today. If this is feeling crazy intense on the low back, go ahead and skip it. Again, just coming into a way more gentle version of your fold. So wherever you are today in your either butterfly fold or your turtle pose, I want you to just bring your awareness inward. We talked a few times about the inner landscape, your emotional landscape, and I want you to just notice how that is now. Is it changed from at the beginning of practice? Is it the same? Did something happen that you weren't expecting? Just assess where you are. And then when you're ready to come out of that fold, go ahead and rise on up, slow and steady, weaving out one arm and then the other, maybe breaking the legs here a little bit so you can get out of that turtle pose a little easier. And then we're going to come into a nice, gentle, seated position. Inhale, lift the arms high to the sky. And then exhale, we're just going to twist a little bit of a spinal sort of recovery after that deep fold. Inhale, lengthen the spine. This twist does not need to be crazy deep. We're just kind of getting a little bit of movement into that low back. And then inhale, sweep the arms high. Exhale, twist to the other side. Lengthen the spine. Good. Exhale, release, turn to center, and then we're going to slow and steady recline. If you want a little extra challenge today, you could come into your boat pose here for just a moment, and then use that boat posture to just roll back to reclined. Send the legs high to the sky. However you get there, come into a little waterfall. Take a moment here, point the toes, flex the feet, do a little back and forth, maybe switching, maybe circling the ankles. And then just like before, we're going to inhale, scissor those legs out, and then squeeze them on in. Go ahead and take that a few times on your own. Open it up, and then squeeze it on in. And then inhale this time, sweep your arms out overhead, bring those knees down to, those feet down so they're on the floor. And then we're going to come into a little pelvic tilt, arm sweeping motion like we did before. So you have this little arch in your back, lifting the navel, the belly towards the sky. Exhale, reverse, push the spine into the mat, sweep the arms down. Inhale, up. And exhale, bring it on down. I want you to imagine there's a wave, again, crashing into shore as it gathers energy. Inhale, lift. And exhale down. And I want you to imagine that wave shrinking. This next wave maybe feels a little smaller, less powerful. And then the next one, even smaller, even less powerful, less energy. And then exhale down. This time we're going to keep the arms down by our sides. This wave is even smaller as we tilt the pelvis. Inhale, arch the back, tilt the pelvis forward. Exhale, press it down, tilt the pelvis back. Move through this on your own pace. Inhale. Imagine that wave dying down, even smaller, even less power. And then eventually I want you to come into stillness here. Now, the only thing moving really is the rise and fall from your breath. Inhale, feel the low abdomen lift. And then the chest. And exhale, drop it down. Again, that wave is losing momentum. It's losing energy and power. It's coming to stillness. Take a few more deep, intentional breaths just like this. And then on your next exhale, I want you to just send those legs long. Open those arms into a little bit of a star shape here, or like just wide from the limbs. Palms face the sky. And then I want you to first just release your breath pattern here. Let your breathing return to normal. Tuck the chin gently here. Relax all the little muscles of the face. Part the lips and jaw. Squeeze the shoulders and then relax them down. Relaxing all the little muscles of the arms and fingers. Relaxing the muscles of the core and the glutes. And relax the thighs, the shins, the feet, and toes. And just breathe. Notice if you're clenching anything here, and just try to release and relax. And finally, we will attempt to clear our mind of thoughts here. Maybe letting them come and go, but trying not to follow them. And then when you're ready, no rush of course, when you're ready, begin with wiggling the fingers and toes, maybe rolling the wrists and ankles, rolling the shins and forearms so we can rotate through the shoulder and hip sockets. And take a nice deep breath, full body stretch. Inhale, reach it out long. And then exhale here. Go ahead and roll onto your left side, coming into a little fetal position. Bend the knees, Right arm comes to the floor, left arm is pillowing the head. And then use your right hand to push yourself all the way up. We'll come into a seated posture here to close practice. Take a nice deep breath. Inhale, sweep the arms high to the sky. Exhale, draw them down to center. Take a moment here and just consider the energy that you've cultivated in your practice. Take another moment to assess that emotional inner landscape. And then we will chant one round of Om here to close practice. So go ahead and inhale nice and deep here, fill the lungs. And then as you exhale, we will chant Om. Thank you all for sharing your practice with me. I hope that this recenters your Cancer season here. Until next time.